Hello everyone, welcome again to another review. No, I'm not going to talk about this model of a McLaren, but as you can see, this is something related. You have carbon fiber in this watch. So if you want to know about the GW-S 5600, stay tuned and you'll see why it makes sense. So let's start then talking about the construction of this watch. This is what it makes it so special. As you can see already, carbon fiber insert construction. And if it is not clear enough, you also have the statement here, again, carbon fiber, the regular display, then top solar on the top, here also on the band, shock resistant, and with this multiband 6 part. So what makes it so special? You can see that there are other G-Shock watches which have kind of like a carbon fiber design or decoration, but in this case it is actual carbon fiber. And I want to show you from the side, for example, when you can see this resin band, it is here on the bottom, it is actually resin as every other G-Shock, and on top you can see this shiny part, which is really thin, but this is where it contains that carbon fiber. It is actual carbon fiber, that's why the price of the watch is a bit more expensive than the regular G-Shock. And here you can see from the bottom part, it is just the normal resin of a G-Shock. So I have this watch for at least 3 years, and I want to show you later also how it can hold all this time and also how it performed as well. So that's the band on the bottom. It is the design is really the same as any other G-Shock for these square ones. It doesn't change much, but the material is what makes it different. Here you have again this inscription, which is printed on the top, but it doesn't wear off. So I can feel it when I pass my fingernail. I can feel the inscription of this letter, so it means that it is on top of this band, same as here, but it is not being removed, so it is a really good quality for this. On the bezel itself, you can see that it is a transparent bezel, kind of to follow the lines of this shiny construction of the band, and you can see how beautiful this one looks in different light conditions. So when the light hits directly, you can see that carbon fiber there. So it gives you like a kind of 3D effect. Maybe the camera doesn't pick this so well, but in reality, it's really, really cool, this 3D effect that you get from this construction. So the bezel, as I said, is the regular transparent one. Maybe you can see it like this. And it is the same size as the regular 500 or 5000, sorry, G-Shock line. And here on top, you come again to this construction of the same carbon fiber material. Also, again, this is printed on top. If I pass my fingernail, I can feel the surface that is different. Maybe you can tell there. And the same goes for this. The clasp in this case is just a regular clasp that you can find in any G-Shock. You can see how scratched it is by the use. And here on the rear we have Casio Japan. What also is special about this watch is really light, I can tell you. And here, this is the other thing. This is titanium. So the case back of this construction is titanium. You can tell by the color already that is this dark gray, matte gray. So then you can tell that it is actual titanium, and also it feels, the whole watch feels really light. It is not cheap light, because usually when you have something that is light, you associate it with something cheap, but this, I can tell you, it feels solid. These screws here also are good quality, and I think that it really feels special on the hand. So maybe I can give you an overview like that, so you can see how the shiny part, I was not convinced that was the shiny part, because I usually like matte designs or surfaces, but it actually works really well with this design. As you can see, the lettering on the display, they use red for the top solar inscription, but the rest remains more or less standard for this type of watches. Another thing that makes this watch really special are the functions. In this case, you have multiband 6, for example. On top here on the band, it states the same, multiband 6, and this means that this watch is radio controlled. I will put an image right now where you can see which cities and countries are working with these functions, because in this case you can see on top of the display on the on the left side that it states received. This works, at least in my case, once per day, and on top of having a quartz watch which is already accurate, you can correct all the errors once per day. So that means that the time that you read here you can totally rely on. Another function, it is also here the top solar, here also again on top of this band, which means that you have a battery that is charged by sunlight or any light whatsoever. So you can also read the status of this battery here on the bottom side, low, medium, on high. And this is really crazy because this allows you to have 11 months. When it is high, you can have this 11 months without charging, or if you enable the power saving function, which you can see I did, it lasts 27 months without sunlight. This is totally reliable. I was having this watch also in the dark, or I switch my watches. I don't use this all the time, so it means that it doesn't get all the light that it should get. But in power save mode, this helps that anytime that I want to take the watch, I just take it and it is synchronized on the time, and it is also working perfectly. So this is really interesting, as well as this 20 var function that I think it is rather normal for every G-Shock, 200 meters water resistance. And another thing that we might consider nowadays something like a given, even more when you have a smartwatch, but the fact that this backlight, it is with this lit here in the background, and it is not LED, it is the old school backlight. I will put a better picture of this. You will see that it is kind of a better quality watch because of that. It's like you can read the time at night in a better way than with the LED that you can find, and G-Shocks that you can find nowadays. I will put a comparison now of this type of illumination versus the LED one that I have in my other G-Shock, and you will see why I prefer this one. So on top of these special functions, let's go then one by one to the functions that you can find in this module. So for people that know this, the module on this watch is the 3159. This is also a module that you can find on the GW-M5600. So this is basically the same watch as that one. This one has this special carbon fiber design, but the other one is also a third of the price. We're going to discuss this later on. So here on the top left, you have as standard for every G-Shock on this 5 series or 5600 series, basically where you can adjust all the functions, and it is a bit recessed ideally, so you don't press it and you change something without wanting it. But when you hold it, then you can change your city, the time format. You can set the time if you want to do this manually, otherwise it will be done by the automatic synchronization. As it is radio controlled, it will set everything. Power saving function, you can turn it on and off, and then you go back to the same settings that you can set. So on top of here, you have this day of the week, then you have the month and the day of the month, you have the time as well, and here you can tell that I turned off the sound of the buttons as well. You can have here on the bottom, you have the alarm part, snooze, the regular alarm or the signal alarm, You can see as a dot when these are turned on. And this is the status of the battery. You have low, medium, or high. In this moment it is high, but as I said, it is something that I I use it regularly. It's not that I have to charge it on the sun. It just it works perfectly also in winter. So here we're going to see the modes, but first I want to show you the light again. You can see that even under these light conditions that I have here, you can see it really well. And then here you can tell if it is the reception of this radio control that it is set to get it at 2:02 in the morning. This is the standard time. So it was coming like this. And if you hold it, it will try to synchronize pair demand. So you can also try to synchronize it as well. So you have to hold this. That's how you do it. And then this here, checking the levels of intensity of the signal. But this is something that may take a couple of minutes. So we're going to exit this mode for now. But when you press it, it's really hard to see through this camera. You see when it was the last time they were synchronized. You have the date and the time in which it was synchronized. So then let's start with the different modes that you can find in this watch. So let's start then with the different functions of this watch. When you press the mode, you have the world time. Basically, you switch it from here. You have different cities, more than enough for the everyday use. Then you can go for the next menu. You have the alarm. You have 4 alarms and one with snooze. And also you have the signal time, which basically sounds when there is the time o'clock. Then you have the stopwatch. You can start it from here, from the bottom right. Then you press it here again to the same button, and then you reset it with this one from adjust. And also if you start it from here, and then you stop it from adjust, you have a split time. And if you press it here, then it stops the stopwatch completely. And once you press here, you can see the final time. And when you press it once, then it goes back to 0. This can measure up to 23 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and 99 milliseconds. So very complete, I would say. Then the timer, also you can set it. Up to here you have the hours and the minutes. But when you want to set this, you have to hold it. Then you can set only down to the minute. So I will put it down to a minute. So also you can see, you can hear also how it sounds like, because it's the same volume as the alarm. So the next thing, we can go to the next page. We go back to this main menu. So one thing about the alarm is like, it is not loud enough that it will wake you up. Sadly, it is just an alarm that you can use it while you are doing something and you want to be reminded about something in particular, but while you are awake, I wouldn't rely on waking up on this sound. Regarding the stopwatch, it is really practical. As I said, you have a really long time that you can measure, which is really good for everyday life. And this timer, which is basically also useful, but I think nowadays with the use of the smartphones, maybe you go faster with your phone than pressing here these small buttons that sometimes can be a bit tricky. And then let's hear. As you can hear, it is not that loud, but it's loud enough when you're awake and you have it on your wrist, then you will for sure notice it. So yeah, these are the main functions of this watch. And then let's jump to the usability, or basically my experience with this watch for the last 3 years. So what about the experience of this watch in the last 3 years? I can tell you the following. This band, it is really beautiful. It is a really special watch because I don't know if you can find another watch that has true carbon fiber in it. So it is really special because of this. But I want to show you is how it works out because I didn't see any videos showing you this. As you have the carbon fiber, it's just in between these layers. So between this shiny part and the normal resin. So this shiny part, it's going to be scratched like any soft thing that you have. You can see here, there's some kind of like a heavy scratch right there where the light is shining. And because I actually used this watch a lot, I liked it. It's light and it's really practical too. So you can see there, it's because more or less where I put my clasp, so where I close the watch. You can see also some wear in that area. And here maybe the bezel has also some shiny parts or some matte parts here, for example, that it is constantly rubbing against clothes or against stuff that you smack something. Here, for example, you can see that. So it has some wear. The same, this part here, it's a bit scratched mildly, but still. And the same for this part, which is also carbon fiber, which is really curious and cool too. This case is completely carbon fiber, or all the way around. And the clasp, it's just the normal G-Shock clasp, which is going to scratch like any other G-Shock, so nothing special about that. Other than this, I had no problems with the resin band breaking, or you cannot even see that it is dry. Sometimes you have these G-Shock watches that the band basically disintegrates. I have G-Shocks for many years, almost 10 years in total, and I could literally see how the band disintegrates. And maybe I'll put some pictures here so you can see that it is not wearable anymore, and you have to buy a new bezel and a new band just to be able to continue using the watch, because the core of the watch itself, it's working properly, just the materials outside it are breaking. In this case, I think that because of this carbon fiber construction, I don't know why, but it feels like the quality it's higher. So even though you can have these wear marks, I don't have anything that it is broken. Basically, that I can say, okay, this band will break in two and then I lose everything. I wouldn't take it as it will never happen, because maybe with this wear and tear, it will eventually create some lines that can break the resin, and then you lose basically the core of which you bought this watch, because it has carbon fiber. So then you lose the band, and if you change the band, I think if you want to buy the same one as this, it's gonna be very expensive and maybe not worth it. So in that case, I think it is something that you can use it, you can wear it, you can trust it will not break easily. And I think that's the purpose also of the carbon fiber. But be aware that it will wear out, and then when you lose the band, then basically you lose the purpose of this watch. So in that case, but after 3 years, and this has seen some really good wear, I can still trust it, and maybe I can have, I don't know, easily 3 years more out of this band and this bezel. The other thing that I could tell about the functions, I mean, in an everyday life, I can really rely on the time. This is really special because when you have a quartz watch or a mechanic watch, then you know that you have plus and minus seconds per day, which in a month can add up to 1 minute, for example, or for a mechanic watch even more. So I think the fact that I know that this is the right time helps me to coordinate my life and to act accordingly. So this I really like, the same as this power saving feature, or the fact that it's solar charged, that it doesn't matter when I want to use this watch, I pick it up and I know that it will not be out of battery, which is really important, that you can rely on this characteristic. Regarding the other functions, the world time is useless, or I don't know, I don't use it so often. It is something that You can check it on the internet and directly. You don't have to go to the watch and scroll here through all the cities trying to find the city that you care about. And the alarms also is a bit not so easy to configure, so it is easier to put the alarm in your phone, and also it is not as loud as you can rely to wake up, for example. So to me, it is something that you just can use it when you don't have your phone with you. It's good to have. And regarding the stopwatch, this is really useful. I like it a lot because you don't need to go to your phone to use an app for this. You can scroll through the menus and achieve this, and then you have straight this function, which I really like. Then you have the timer. Also, can be a bit annoying to press this button that is a bit recessed, so you cannot reach it so nicely. But if you have a time, like let's say, you can always set it to 5 minutes, because I don't know, you have to cook something or you have to wait 5 minutes for something, that you can always leave it at 5, and then you know that when you press this button, it will start working as it should. And this is to me, useful watch. It's beautiful and it's really light, as I said. And also the fact of this light, maybe I can give you. You can see under there. It is a beautiful blue light, as you can see. And yeah, this is to me better, much better solved as the light of the LED. So all in all, I'm really happy with this watch. I would totally recommend it, but if you don't want to pay the price for this, which is around 350 euros, can be 400 euros, so it's a really expensive watch, maybe you can go with the GW-M5600, which is basically the same module, same size, same configuration, multi-band, tough solar as well, but without the resin band, without the carbon fiber band. So it has a normal resin band, and I think the price is around 100 euros. So you can also perhaps get that one, and if you don't want to have something as special as this. But to me, as you know, as I'm also a fan from cars and I love this world, I think to have a carbon fiber, true carbon fiber, not watch but bands, I think this is really special. And the looks of it, when the sun shines on it, or when you have these different lights, you have this 3D effect, which makes it very, very particular. So that's the review of it. I would totally get it. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to write it down in the comments. Also, if you have opinions about what would you like to see in the following videos. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.